Since its debut just over 2 decades ago, NCIS has maintained a loyal and steady viewership. Only a handful of important characters have stayed for the whole run of the program on television, despite the fact that other characters have come and gone throughout that period. Spending so much time in a certain role requires a lot of attention from an actor since they are constantly afraid of being typecast in that genre and character style. The actor is able to establish a solid rapport with fans based on a deep sense of nostalgia. Nevertheless, by playing the same character for an extended period of time, there are few characters and performers on NCIS who fit that description, but Leroy Gibbs may be the best. However, viewers have started to detect an odd recurring motif in Gibbs' stories, as is frequently the case with these sorts of productions. The character has broken a certain record more than once, maybe without the authors noticing. Given that there are just so many hours of television to fill, it is only logical for some storylines to be repeated or reappear. However, a character may become the focus of those repeats if they are crucial to the success of the program. Because of this particular record, which he has unwittingly been linked to, Leroy Gibbs has not only survived long enough to become connected with NCIS, but he is now the subject of a number of fan theories. Crimes seem to continue to be perpetrated at Gibbs' house in one form or another. Naturally, it's not good for a detective to discover that their own home is being investigated. In 2003, notably during Season 8, Gibbs was first shown to NCIS viewers. His founder Donald P. Bellisario, who played Mark Harmon, had spotted the actor on The West Wing and initially put him in JAG before bringing him to NCIS for the foreseeable future. Even so late in the game, it was a marriage made in heaven and helped establish the character as a mainstay of the franchise. Harmon would stay until the show's 19th season, even if he may have joined in the 9th. Harmon ensured that Leroy Gibbs would live on in the lengthy and rich tapestry of the program, as he remained a constant presence. Gibbs was presented as a tough special agent in charge, a position that Harmon really dominated. The actor appeared finally ready to leave the program, pursue other opportunities, and eventually take a break from a demanding schedule, even though it appeared he would stay in the part till the end of his career. Gibbs would leave the series in a far better state and had numerous plots that stood out throughout his tenure. His dying moments were poignant, as he discovered unexpected calm and was at last able to accept the losses of his wife and daughter. Leaving his squad behind, he disobeyed the law in order to act morally, at least according to his own perspective, and the men and women he served with showed him clemency. It's a poignant scene that highlights the character's commitment and unwavering determination, as he managed to display fresh facets even in his last minutes on screen. Gibbs, a former scout sniper in the U.S. Marine Corps, was always a recognized leader and a skilled shooter, but he also learned to delegate and rely on his team's expertise, which allowed them to enhance his own abilities. He was therefore quite successful in the field, but he seemed to have one weakness in spite of all of these advantages: his own house. Because, in spite of all the excellent job he accomplished and the thrilling conclusion the character received, one specific plot point kept coming up since Gibbs' debut, implying that he wasn't very adept at defending his own house. Nobody in law enforcement wants their own property to be the focus of suspicion, but it appears that Leroy Jethro Gibbs has experienced this often over his tenure. It makes perfect sense from the standpoint of a writer. It's simple to relate a specific main character to the crisis on a personal level by focusing the action on them, but it's also important to connect the dots so that viewers can relate to the story. Additionally, it's a great method to separate the character from the other members of their squad. They are more likely to be alone at home, which increases the risk. Given his own conclusion and the fact that he technically committed a crime as well, it may be even more intriguing that crime was frequently associated with Gibbs' house. Even if the character's fate was never intended at first, there seems to be some foreshadowing, as though the authors were preparing for it the entire time. In any case, the fact that so many crimes are staged in Gibbs' mansion allows the show's themes, the ambiguities between good and evil, and the toll that the job takes on everyone who accepts it, to be exposed. The number of crimes that have really occurred in the Gibbs home and the exact date of the first one have been hotly contested by fans. People have been shot at, physically assaulted, or subjected to other crimes over the years, all of which have surprised Gibbs. At least 10 to 15 incidents of this occurring are said to have occurred, and some fans are certain that it occurs at least once per season. However, given that there are only so many episodes to fill and a limited number of dramatic tale styles to choose from, those figures make sense. Although it doesn't seem well for the veteran, Gibbs had previously housed people of interest at that house. However, many people think that Ziva's murder of Ari was the first significant crime to be committed there. Anyone else would probably relocate to put some space between themselves and such traumatic events, as it is certainly a significant event to occur in someone's home. However, the fact that Gibbs persisted and stayed while other awful things happened speaks something about him. Given all that occurred there, it's ironic that Gibbs' home was frequently utilized as and seen as a safe haven. On the surface, it is obvious how all of these crimes could have continued to occur, since it is literally begging trouble to bring all of these unstable, unpredictable people with their own personal issues together. After all, it's a wild job, and these professionals have seen and experienced it all. However, there are other fan theories explaining why, across the show's illustrious history, Gibbs' home has seemed to serve as the scene of several significant events. Many people think that the plot point has persisted because, in the universe, Gibbs is seen as a reliable and capable person who can defend anybody, particularly in his own country. However, it's possible that Gibbs' propensity for making poor decisions increased with the length of his career, causing the expert to stumble and undermining both supporters and adversaries. Darker ideas suggest that Gibbs, the real NCIS mastermind villain, is planning everything from a distance and will eventually come clean. However, this is far less likely to be the case. There's also the notion that this became well known in the universe, and that criminals would orchestrate situations to involve Gibbs' house since they knew it was a spot where they could accomplish their objectives with surprising ease. Why couldn't the seasoned wrongdoers of NCIS legend also see the trend if viewers do? Fans are simply glad that Gibbs may live out the remainder of his life in peace, possibly without any more crimes being perpetrated on his property, regardless of the response. As it happens, despite being a skilled marksman, he is incredibly poor at recognizing problems until it occurs in his own backyard.